So thank you very much. I think first of all, thank you for your kind words. Most of them were just comments and kind comments. Thank you so much for those kind comments. I'll combine maybe the main. So it's really one question. I'll combine Dr.'s question with. There are two questions. There are one on funding and this one. But let me comment on what Jane has said. Can I call you Jane? You know, Kenyans like titles. Okay. Okay. So Jenna said about sustainability. Indeed, it's true. Actually, maybe blow our trumpet a little bit. You know, there are many firsts Kenya Airways since 2020 that we've been able to score. So, for example, we are the only African carrier which has an innovation hub in Africa. We're the only African carrier with an innovation hub. Why that is important is because we are able to come up with new ideas, generate and encourage employees also to come up with brand new ideas. One of them is exactly what she was talking about recycling things. So the beads, you see the beads that our beautiful ladies wear on board? That's recycled material, and it's made in Kibera by people, the ladies in Kibera. It's made out of our Msafiri magazine. We don't throw it away. We remake it and then they use it. It looks beautiful. And then of course it says a lot about Kenya. So there's many other things that we are doing when it comes to that. One of the other things we have also done is we've set up what is called a pyrodiesel plant. A pyrodiesel plant is one which converts plastic to diesel. So it's reverse engineering. This waste plastic, we convert it into diesel. It's called pyrodiesel. And that pyrodiesel has less emissions when it comes to carbon and sulfur, 50% less emissions. So we use it for ground equipment, and it's also much, much cheaper, of course, because we're using waste plastic. So, yes, that is that. The other one I want to talk about is patriotism. Kenyans, although we believe we are patriotic, we are not patriotic, I can tell you that. We are not, but we don't really love our country. Or maybe we do, but we don't know how to love our country. You know the way sometimes we love our children and we don't know how to love them? It's the same way Kenyans don't know how to love their country. Okay? You know, when your child, you know, is not doing well in school, you know, our parents used to really beat us to get us back. So that's one way of doing it. But another way of doing it is to take them for tutorials, to encourage them, to love on them, and I think that's a better way. So I think the way we love our country is not like... In fact, there was one time I was in Rwanda with my colleague in Rwanda, but she was brought up in Kenya. The CEO of Rwanda, she's Rwandese, but she was brought up in Kenya. She was telling me, you Kenyans, what is wrong with you? Because she was reading how Kenyans are beating up Kenyans on social media. She says, in Rwanda and even in Ethiopia, you can never see that. Never see that. Yes, of course, we have a lot of challenges, but you don't go out in the public and beat up your own so much that other people start thinking, if Kenyans don't like this one, then it cannot be a good thing. Yeah, so I don't think we know how to love our own. It's not to say that you should hide what is wrong, but it's the way you do it. You don't do it in an encouraging way, just like the way you treat your own children, I think. So Felix talked about the conversion. It's complicated. It's actually a financial restructuring that was done in 2017 when Kenya Airways was going through a lot of trouble. So the support of the bank was they had lent a lot of money to Kenya Airways, and because Kenya Airways was not able to, at that time, fulfill the obligations of repaying, so they restructured their loans in such a way that a portion of it was treated as mandatory convertible loans into shares. Some of it was equitized, like you're saying, as a result of which the banks formed a company called Kenya Lenders. KQ Lenders is a company that is owned by the top 10 banks in Kenya. So all the top 10 banks that you know the Kenyan banks. Okay, and nothing against Stanbic. I'm just saying that the Kenyan banks are the big ones. So NCBA, Equity, KCB, Diamond Trust, all those ones. They own about 38% of Kenya Airways. So the two top companies organizations that own Kenya Airways is 49% owned by Kenyan government, 38% owned by KQ lenders, which is Kenyan banks. That's been a big support. The thinking is that by 2027, and that's not because of the elections, but it's a 10-year period, from 2017 to 2027, some of that will convert back into debt and repaid. So that's kind of the financial thinking. And now the new thinking is new funding needs to come into Kenya Airways, actually quite urgently, so that, like I said, we can be capitalized, we can grow, and we can be a bit distressed from cash constraints. Then, Edward, about Kenya, it is true. The organizations, let me tell you that in the US, the most liberal country, or so-called liberal country in the world, there is a law of Congress that requires all government officials and agencies to travel only by an American carrier. By law. So in other words, if you don't travel using an American carrier, you're breaking the law. In Ethiopia, it is the same thing. In Rwanda, it is the same thing. And so it is in many other countries. In Kenya, there's a policy that was issued, I think in early 2000s, by the then head of public service, that I think it is called Fly. So the American one is called Fly America Act. In Kenya, we have something called Fly Kenya Policy. Fly Kenya Policy, yes. So this one is has never been able to be enforced. The policy requires that Kenyan government officials and other agencies like parastatals are required to fly Kenya Airways as a requirement. And actually the thinking is very straightforward. If government owns 49% and actually supports the airline, if Kenya, you see, if you fly another, let me tell you what the effect is. If you fly another airline, let's say, let me not name them, but another airline, you know what you're doing? You're actually exporting foreign currency and you're exporting jobs. That's what you're doing. But if you fly Kenya Airways, you are employing more people, making us grow. And the fact that we are, because it's a cyclical argument. People say, oh, you're not expanding, but we're not expanding because we don't have enough funding. We're not having enough funding because not more people are flying Kenya Airways. And let me tell you, we have issues. Just like Jen was saying, we have issues. Even today we have issues. We have shortage of aircraft. We have issues. We're not denying that. But like I was saying, like your child, when they have a C or a D in a subject, you encourage them to improve that subject. You don't throw them out of the house and say, "Sawa ni mjinga sana." Yeah. So yes, Fly Kenya policy. Fortunately, I have to say this. For the first time, and it's good to give credit where it's due. For the first time since I took this job, and actually for a very long time, the government is reinforcing the Fly Kenya policy. For the very first time. And I have to thank, and he's not here, so I'm not even saying it, so that I have to thank the head of public service, HOPS, Mr. Felix Koskei. He issued another circular, and he's put together a mechanism of tracking, right from CSS, PSS to begin with, and then heads of parastatals. Because you know, if you're traveling and you're a CS and a PS, you've got to get authority from the president. So before you get authority, you ask why you're not flying Kenya Airways. Okay? So it started this year. We're seeing, and of course, now there's less travel because of budgetary constraints, but at least enforcement has begun. And that's, I have to thank them a lot for that. So we can only hope that it will increase. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.